Imagine you're 22 years old, you start posting on LinkedIn, just talking about your job, and then one day you wake up to a message from the CEO of a fast-growing tech company who wants to talk to you about a six-figure job. Now, you've not applied online and they weren't even on your radar. Sounds impossible, right? Well, that's what happened to my client. And in this video, I'm going to tell you what happened so that you can follow the same steps. Now, if you're thinking, okay, but this is just one lucky story, let me tell you, this is not a one-off. As an ex-recruiter turned career coach who's coached thousands of professionals on how to use LinkedIn to attract job offers instead of chasing applications, I've seen people land six-figure jobs, consultant gigs, and huge jumps on the career ladder they never thought possible. And the reason all comes down to perception. Take luxury handbags. A regular leather bag might cost you $100, but slap a Louis Vuitton logo on it and suddenly it's $5,000. Same materials, same function, but people pay more because of branding and perception. And the principle is the same in almost every aspect of life, including the way you show up on LinkedIn. And yet most people never take advantage of this, because their beliefs hold them back. Now, working with job seekers day in, day out, I hear these limiting beliefs all the time. And maybe you've even thought some of them yourself. What if my boss sees? What if people disagree with me? I don't want to be seen as an influencer. And it's these beliefs that are holding you back. So let's tear them apart, because once you break free of them, that's when the opportunities start coming to you. So look, faulty belief number one. What if my boss sees? And this is a classic one. People say, I don't know if I should start posting. I don't want my boss to know I'm looking. But in reality, that's not the case. They're normally just scared to get started. And hey, I get it. I felt the same before I started sharing content. And that's why members of my coaching program get access to my complete framework and cheat sheets to remove all of the guesswork. Now, I'll drop a link in the description below, but let me just make my point again. Being active on LinkedIn doesn't automatically signal that you're job hunting. It just means you're engaged in your industry. And if you look at the top performers in your field, leaders, specialists, high earners, I guarantee they are active on LinkedIn. So why shouldn't you be? If anything, posting on LinkedIn makes you look like someone who's ahead of the game, not someone who's desperately looking for a way out. And I know how well this works because there is loads of members on my CGA program who initially joined with the intention to switch jobs, but still have recruiters filling their inbox with opportunities months after. But maybe that's not your worry. Maybe you're thinking, what if I post something and people don't like it? But look, if everyone always agrees with you, you're probably not saying anything interesting. And that's worse than someone disagreeing with you. Successful people on LinkedIn and in life don't just repeat the same old safe advice. They share their experiences, their take on industry trends, their lessons learned, and sometimes people will have a different perspective. And when you start posting, most people won't even engage at first. But over time, the right people will start to notice you. And when they do, they won't be looking for someone who just blends in. They'll be looking for someone with insight and confidence. So don't hold back just because someone might disagree. I always say that this stuff's self-filtered. And I get people challenging my advice all the time. But then again, when I'm suggesting things that 99% of people won't ever try, it's to be expected. Now, on the flip side, if you're watching this video right now, it probably means that you're in the 1% of people who are willing to adapt to the modern world of job seeking and adopt my strategies. So if that's you, and I hope you've already liked and subscribed, if not, hit those buttons. But it's you guys who actually matter, okay? And this brings me on to the next thing I hear. I don't want to be an influencer. And I hear this one all the time, almost like the second you post on LinkedIn, you're suddenly out here filming morning routine vlogs and selling protein powder. But let me tell you something, I don't even see myself as an influencer. As far as I'm concerned, I'm just like anyone else promoting their business and their expertise. And yeah, as a result, I've picked up a reasonable following. But this didn't happen overnight. This has taken years and years of consistently posting, testing, refining, and showing up. And let me tell you, It's hard work. If I stopped posting tomorrow, my reach would drop, my brand would fade, and my inbox would dry up. But that's the point. Visibility creates opportunities. So no, posting doesn't make you an influencer. It makes you visible. And if visibility leads to job offers and career growth, why would you want to stay invisible? Now look, I could go on, and there are a million other reasons people talk themselves out of posting on LinkedIn. I'm not a professional writer. I tried before, but nobody engaged, so I gave up. This wouldn't work in my industry. People don't engage with LinkedIn content. But let's be real, every single one of these beliefs is just another excuse to stay in your comfort zone. And the comfort zone? It doesn't get you a six-figure salary job offer in your inbox. So I want you to stop thinking about why this won't work and start focusing on how it actually does work. And here's exactly what my client did to get a six-figure job offer without applying online. Now, here's where most job seekers mess up. They think if they post, recruiters will magically find them. But LinkedIn doesn't work like that. Now, my client was deliberate about who he connected with. So instead of just adding random people via Social Saturday or any of that nonsense, he started connecting with hiring managers, industry leaders, and decision makers in tech. Now, he engaged with their posts, commented on discussions, nothing major, but he knew if he commented, they'd see him. And let's face it, we all check the comment section of posts, particularly those that go viral. And this was the key, because when you start showing up in their feeds, they become familiar. And when people feel like they know you, they're way more likely to reach out when opportunities come up. Now, alongside building the right network, he started posting. And no, I'm not talking about fluffy motivational quotes. He posted about his actual work. He shared insights from his day-to-day in data science and machine learning, things he was working on, challenges in the industry, observations he had made. Nothing overly polished, nothing that took hours, but they were valuable thoughts that positioned him as someone who knew his stuff. And guess what? At first, nobody cared. Barely any engagement. And that's where most people give up. But he stuck with it. And over time, the right people started noticing. He started seeing these business owners like his posts, and some started to leave the odd comment too. And then came step 3. And I don't think he realized it at the time, but he was describing employers' problems so well that they started to assume he had the solution. Now, this one was huge. And he later learned that this was the reason he ended up getting approached by the CEO of the fast-growing tech company. You see, his posts weren't just about, look what I did today. They spoke directly to real industry problems. Instead of just sharing random updates, he'd post things like the biggest issues in machine learning right now, and then list the pain points for companies just like his. Or he'd say, here's why it's tricky, and here's one approach that might work. Now, to him, this was his daily work. He was just documenting the things he was doing. But when hiring managers read that, they didn't just see someone talking about a problem. They saw someone who understood the problem so well that he was probably the right person to fix it. And this is where everything shifted. One morning, he wakes up, checks his LinkedIn, and there it is, a message from a CEO of a fast-growing tech company. Hey Henry, I've been following your post, would love to chat about an opportunity. Now, at first, he thought it was just another recruiter. But no, this was an actual CEO, a decision maker, someone who had the power to hire him on the spot. And here's the wild part. This CEO had never liked, commented, or engaged with any of his posts. Not once. I guess he was one of those silent stalkers, the people who scroll, who read, and take everything in, but never engage unless there is something in it for them. But on this occasion, it turns out my client had been posting about a specific challenge in machine learning, a problem that this CEO had been trying to solve for months. And when he saw the way my client broke it down, that clearly triggered the outreach. Anyway, the rest is history. Just a few weeks later, my client got the job. He signed the contract for a 6-figure job without ever sending an application. All right, so the content strategy worked. And if you stuck around to this point, First off, you're already ahead of 99% of job seekers because you understand how to actually get inbound job offers on LinkedIn. And like I promised at the start, I've got something for you. My LinkedIn profile playbook, the exact framework to make sure that when decision makers check your profile, they see someone worth reaching out to. Because remember, the CEO that reached out to my client had never engaged before. No likes, no comments. But before sending that message, I guarantee you that he will have checked my client's profile to make sure he wasn't wasting his time. And if your profile isn't optimized, you might never even know how many opportunities you've lost. So don't let that happen. Comment playbook below and I'll send you the link to grab it now. And of course, if you got value from this, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.